Tools like Sora and Runway allow filmmakers to generate detailed video sequences from text prompts, producing millions of minutes of footage that never existed before. For decades, artificial intelligence in cinema was strictly a narrative subject, usually an existential threat locked inside a blinking mainframe. Today, the algorithm is the camera itself. But creating digital art at this scale presents a problem: the uncanny valley. To give these synthetic films weight, curators are pulling them off of social media feeds and projecting them into real physical rooms. We are seeing this physical migration happen globally. Programs like the MIT AI Filmmaking Hackathon and the World AI Film Festival in France are proving that AI cinema needs a live audience to spark real debate. Since purely digital art can be perceived as disposable, curators are securing high-profile premieres at institutions like the TCL Chinese Theater and the Venice International Film Festival. By placing AI cinema within these established landmarks, they are anchoring a new technology to the traditional history of film. If you're an independent curator in Los Angeles with a typical budget of $1,500, you face a specific set of constraints. You need a venue with deep historical prestige to lend gravity to the event, but you also need flawless, heavy-duty audiovisual infrastructure to display the complex digital files. This quadrant chart maps the LA venue landscape, comparing upfront costs against technical readiness. In the lower left is the DIY route, city-owned historical warehouses. They're cheap, but technically empty. In the upper right are turnkey hubs, fully equipped cultural spaces that demand a premium. As a curator, you have to decide. Do you rent a cheap shell and build the tech yourself, or do you pay a premium and risk stepping into a hidden financial trap? Let's start with the DIY route. Renting a city facility like the Devonshire House or a vintage warehouse on Pier Space usually runs about $400 for a 4-hour block. We can track this on our matrix. For DIY, the $400 rental is the main draw. Culturally, they offer a historical vibe with a low financial barrier, but the trade-off is they are technically bare bones. That money gets you 4 walls and a power outlet. This means you are responsible for renting, transporting, and rigging high-lumen projectors, screens, and PA systems from scratch. Once you add $500 for professional AV rentals and another $200 for event liability insurance, your actual cost reaches $1,100 before the doors even open. You also become the technical lead. If an AI video file loses audio sync, you are the one troubleshooting under a table with an HDMI cable while the crowd waits. A $400 DIY venue is often an accounting illusion. It only saves money if you already own and can transport professional production equipment. To avoid manual labor, you look at a fully turnkey cultural hub. A prime example in LA is Jules Catch 1. Back on our matrix, booking Jules' room on a weeknight sets you back between $600 and $1,200. For that price, logistical friction vanishes. You get a built-in stage, a drop-down screen, concert sound, and an in-house technical staff. You tap into immense cultural clout. Catch 1 is a legendary venue with a 50-year history of hosting avant-garde art. But here is the financial risk. Booking a room requires agreeing to a mandatory bar minimum spend, often hovering around $3,000. If your attendees only buy $1,000 worth of drinks, you are legally obligated to pay the $2,000 shortfall out of your own pockets. You successfully outsourced your audiovisual headaches, but you replaced them with the stress of monitoring bar sales for the entire night. Turnkey venues are efficient, but they immediately convert technical responsibilities into financial liabilities, based entirely on your audience's behavior. There is a mid-tier alternative for curators who want to avoid both DIY labor and nightclub bar minimums: university venues. Academic spaces like the UCLA Faculty Club offer historical prestige, excellent acoustics, and professional AV support without pushing alcohol sales. However, typical rental rates here range from $500 to over $1,000, which pushes the absolute limit of a standard $1,500 indie budget. The friction here is operational. Universities enforce strict institutional rules regarding catering, security, and inflexible room layouts that can limit how you curate the space. University venues offer safety and prestige, but you pay for it by trading your creative freedom for their institutional stability. Choosing the right space cannot be based on the hourly rental rate alone. It has to be dictated by how your specific audience behaves. Let's look at a decision tree to map your crowd type to the correct venue archetype. If you have low capital and your crowd is primarily academic, sober, or under 21, your path points straight to the DIY route. If attendees sit quietly to watch films, they won't hit a bar minimum. You must rent the cheap space and gear yourself. Conversely, a high-energy networking crowd points your path directly to the turnkey club. If you can guarantee a large drinking crowd, their bar spend effectively subsidizes your AV and staffing costs, often reducing your total venue expense to zero. Evaluating an AI showcase venue solely by its hourly rate is an operational failure. Attempting the DIY route without existing technical gear and production experience will drain your budget in equipment rentals. Booking a high-end turnkey venue while overestimating your audience's bar consumption will leave you personally liable for thousands of dollars. Ultimately, bridging the gap between futuristic AI art and these historic physical spaces requires a rigid sense of logistical pragmatism. Mastery of generative AI isn't enough. You must also master traditional event logistics. Master the physical constraints so the digital art can really thrive.